Watch out for these units, as they are the top 10 hardest hitting LRs in Dokkan Battle. How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We're back for another Dokkan Battle video. In today's video, we have something just a little bit different, so strap in as we are taking a look at some of the most ferocious, most powerful, most offensive units that Dokkan Battle has to offer since the 10th anniversary. In order to set the scene for you, we will be looking at every unit on this list at rainbow status, 100% max hidden potential with skill orbs and investment that maximizes damage. So whether that it comes in the form of additionals or crit or any mix of attack boosting orbs will all be considered for their max passive and their max damage output. We will also be looking at them assuming they have their best partner available, right? So example, right, for the LR Super Saiyan 4s, should they come across here, they will be linked with their best link partner, the AGL Super Saiyan 4 Goku. That is how this will be working. If there are any rainbow orb changers or anyone who needs orbs, they will assume a 7 orb minimum for their average highest attack, as that would be one of the more easier ones to get. So with that in mind, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and we are going to hit our number 10. So coming in at number 10, shout out to Luca Pigeon on Twitter, by the way, for this graphic. Very well put together. I do like the format. Makes it very easy to see. So coming in at number 10, we have the LR Tech Carnival Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. This was the Carnival LR released at the end of 2024 on both Global and JP, finalizing the sync on both versions. This guy has a 200% lead underneath the LR AGL Gogeta, and we are going to, as well as the LR Tech Vegito. So we are going to assume he has his best partner here with the AGL Gogeta and under the leader skill of Tech Vegito. So no, he will get just about 5 key, 62% attack, and 5% defense from his from being linked with Gogeta. So that's kind of big there, right? Prioritizing those attack links. You can see there that he's got 15 additionals to maximize his damage output, get him to get at least 3 supers is assumed, and he has 11 crit to give him that chance to crit. So they calculated, assuming he has 24 key, it is his 4th turn, which means it's his active skill turn, and he has received an attack as well as received a Ki Blast super attack. So he will have done his Ki Blast counter attack and done a and having that done after super attacking, so it would maximize the amount of damage. That means on this turn, coming in at number 10, we have 324 million. This assumes Gogeta's active is active as well, and so that is actually pretty crazy, right, to think, right? That would kill, so the previous boss before this was 70 million. That turn would solo Goku and Frieza 2 times over. So just to give you an idea of what we're doing here, the amount of damage, pretty darn good if I say so, for our number 10 pick. Coming in at number 9, you would not believe it if I told you, but we have the LR Kaioken Goku. He is one of the characters who Easy A'd during the 10th anniversary, having released during the 7th anniversary. He is assumed on Super Saiyan 2 Gohan's lead, linked with and supported by his his best partner, the version Z Goku, with 15 additionals and 11 crit at Rainbow on his 24 key on his third turn, meaning he's stacked up for a couple of turns. He's activated his active skill and is against a Vegeta enemy with less than 50% HP. Notice no Gogeta active. He is hitting about 365,269,999. That is pretty crazy. Now, of course, in order to set that up is a little difficult, as you have to be not only versus a Vegeta, but you also have to be under 50% HP. So I would say that probably the best place to achieve this, I mean, assuming you can keep someone like version Z Goku alive, would probably be in the Goku story Red Zone against the Vegeta. That would probably be one of the better places you would be able to really test this out. But I mean, that's still only a third of his health. But if we think back to Goku Frieza, this would actually, like Gotenks, this would solo Goku Frieza 2 times over. So it's still a really good. This is some of the highest attack we've seen up to this point, right? Very few units prior to the 10th anniversary were reaching these kinds of levels. So moving on to our number 8 pick, we have the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. You guys know he had to have made the list. There's been a lot of hate for this guy recently, but he actually is quite powerful when utilized on his best setup. So this is actually on a 200% lead, not a 220% lead like the last two at number 8. So imagine if this guy gets a 220% lead, right? So he assumed on the Kamehameha leader skill for the family Kamehameha Gohan, linked to the trio, meaning he is getting their defensive support along with their attack support from their super attack effect, getting 65% attack from their links. He is assumed on his 24 key. Pretty much everybody's going to be assumed 24 key here on turn 5 to 6, which means it is the active skill turn. He is slot 2 and has activated his active skill with 20 additionals and 6 crit, because of course on the active skill turn he should be critting. He is hitting a 368 million damage. That is crazy. That is wild. Now, I don't know, it seems not so crazy given that, you know, that kind of APT would still only do about a third of Red Zone Vegeta or Red Zone Goku's HP, because they have 1 billion and 1.5 billion, I think. But it's still pretty crazy. Like all the red zones before it, that's knocking out a very big chunk of their health. So in fact, like that would actually, that if procced, that would solo AJL Jiren, because he has about 300. So really, really nice there. So moving on to our number 7 pick, we have the family Kamehameha Gohan. Funny story, that one, especially coming in after the LR Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. So at number 7, we have the all-out super attack Super Saiyan Gohan teen, assumed on the family Kamehameha Gohan lead, so on his own lead, linked next to the LR Super Saiyan trio, and with 65% attack from his links, along with an enemy who can be defense lowered based on their links. It is assumed 20 crit, 6 additionals, although that is not necessary. But this is, so because this guy is a standby finish skill, it is assumed that he will 1, have obtained all 7 Dragon Balls, completed his finish skill with 132 charges. You could probably get more, but this is an average. So 132 charges, second slot, meaning your first slot also grabbed charges on turn 7 to 8, all 7 Dragon Balls collected, and then 3 attacks in his base form, right? Assuming all of those conditions are met, he is hitting a 481 million APT for that turn, the attack per turn. So that is actually wild, near 500 million, right? We're talking 500 million. This is crazy high. Now, of course, with the boss's HP where they are at, it won't feel like it's that much, but this is essentially half of Red Zone Vegeta's health if you manage to proc it on turn 8. So it's still a pretty good chunk, right? So the only problem with this one is, of course, the charges, right? Unlike others, right? It is where it's based on the attacks that they're doing. This one can vary greatly depending on the amount of charges you get, which is why they're just giving an average of 132. But I've seen people get much more, but I've also seen people get much less. So it's really depending on who you bring into Orb Change and get this guy the charges they need. So moving on to our number 6 pick, we have the LR Tech Broly. Funny how the two LRs don't make it, but the Easy A does. This guy is actually kind of crazy, right, you guys? I think we saw glimpses of it during Worldwide, but now under the 220% meta, things are a little bit crazier. So we are assuming under the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan lead for full power, linked next to the Int Broly, getting 95% attack, which means Berserker is activated, and it assumes 20 crit with 6 additionals at Rainbow status. We'll have 24 ki, it is turn 5, he is below 50% HP, his active skill has been activated, of course, right? That's how you get the big number on him, and you are versing 2 enemies, and you have killed one of them with the first attack, right? Which should be ideal, right? That first attack, right? Assuming this is an enemy who has been debuffed, which is also one of the conditions here, right? Because he gets that extra buff for he gets an extra buff for having the enemy attack or defense lowered. So assuming the enemy has been debuffed, right, that first attack is throwing out over 100 million, and that was before the 220% meta. So assuming all of those conditions are met, and LR Int Super Saiyan Broly's revival skill has been activated, which means the 60% support is activated. He is hitting assuming he gets to hit all 3 supers, he is hitting a 518,288,569 attacks for that turn. Again, that is nearly half a health bar of the 1 billion HP on the Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Vegeta Red Zone, right? And that's, you know, a third of Goku's health. And of course, this one is basically free once you get the revive on Super Saiyan Broly. So really, really nice there. I always have fun with this unit. The cool thing about this is like, this is one of those situations where kill the enemy before he kills you, and he's certainly going to be doing that with that level of attack. So that brings us to our number 5 pick. A surprising pick, as I always assumed his attack was a little bit higher, but that is the LRAGL Unprecedented Miracle Super Gogeta, the 10th anniversary LR. Considering this guy is meant to match Vegito, you would assume he would be a lot stronger, but of course his role is more of the defensive role. So he is assumed on a double Gogeta lead. He is assumed linked next to the Tech Vegito and is getting 60% attack from his links, and the enemy has been debuffed 10% defense, right? So you're getting that little extra attack in there, assuming his active skill is activated, and he is getting his 24 ki. It is turned 5 to 6, right? So it's not a whole lot of attack stacking. That's, let's say he turned up turn 1. This is his third appearance, basically, is what we're saying here. Third appearance, which I think is a really good rough average. So third appearance, and his active skill is activated. He has achieved 4 rainbow orbs to get his max buff. With the active skill support from another Gogeta, he is looking at a 546,687,008 supported APT. That is wild. That is turn 5 to 6. Now that you really think about it, it really puts into perspective how much he's actually hitting for in things like Festival of Battles, even though he's typically one of your floating units, right? So this is a turn of 5 to 6. Minimal setup. He honestly, of all of the units we've shown thus far, his setup is very minimal. It's literally stack for 2 turns, pop the active skill, link him to Vegito, or and let him go. So really, really nice there. Coming in at number 5. So let's take a look to our next one. The number 4. Another surprising pick. We have the AGL LR Roar of Resentment Full Power Frieza. He was another EZA from the 10th anniversary. We're beginning to notice a pattern as we approach number 1, aren't we? He's getting roughly 80% attack from links. This is assuming linked with third form Frieza. Now, this setup probably never going to happen, if only because the partner here is not only supporting him for sworn enemies, but he's just not that good. He's going to explode on impact. But if you could pull this off, and they actually sub-EZA'd him, we are looking at a partner that is giving him 80% attack on links and debuffing the enemy. Noting that he will have max additionals to maximize the amount of attacks he's doing per turn. He is assumed to have his 24 key. It is turn 7 to 8 in this case. And he is facing a Goku whose enemy is less than 30%. So remember, because you'll be able to maximize his passive the lower the enemy's HP are. It's also assuming the active skill has been activated. He is in slot 2, which is the place where if he has been attacked the previous turn, he will be able to launch the most amount of attacks. And if done correctly, if set up correctly, he will be looking at a 566,492,261 attack per turn. This is another very, very high attack value. Really, really surprising here. I actually didn't expect. I knew the guy was strong. I'm sure all of us did, but to see him here with 566 million, that's pretty crazy. Again, that's a third of Goku's health bar. That is nearly half of Vegeta's. So really, really impressive there. So before we hop into number 3, I would like to take a moment and talk about some honorable mentions, some characters that you may not have realized actually have an incredibly high attack value. Some of the hardest hitting units that didn't quite make it into the top 10 here. We have quite a few good numbers. So coming in at number 15 is Great Ape Vegeta, assuming all of his conditions are met. He has giant formed the same turn. He's looking at about 276 million. So he's actually not too far off from the first one on our list. And a surprising pick of all on Tech Vegito's team, against as many enemies as possible. Remember, he does get buffed by attacking more enemies, and there's actually no there's no limit, although the most you can fight, I think, is 6. So the Int Triku actually has a 281 million. We might have to test that one out, actually. I don't know where. I don't know what stage would give us the enemies necessary to do that, but I kind of want to try it out. But number 14 is the Int Triku. Number 13, not surprising at all, but Tech UI Goku on his active skill turn with his guaranteed dodge and counters. With the right amount of counters and support, he's looking at 83.1 mil. Followed up by number 12 at the Int Goku and Frieza. This assumes Goku, all of this assumes turn 5 to 6, right? And this also assumes that Goku has been stacking for that entire time. So Honestly, not too bad, considering 290 million for, I mean, with Goku Frieza, you're basically only going to get, assuming turn anywhere between turn 5 to 6 or 7 to 8, Goku's only going to have a stacked twice. So that's actually pretty darn good, all things considered. And then, of course, coming in at number 11, you knew he was going to be here. He's actually a lot stronger than people let on. But, of course, the AGL LR Super Saiyan 4 Goku, given the fact that he stacks turns 7 to 8, with some proper support, he's looking at 200. And this assumes he's gotten all of his hits in from the enemy too. 296 million. So very, very impressive with our honorable mentions here. So all that's left is our top 3 picks here for the hardest hitting units in the game. So let's go ahead and let's hit number 3, the LR Super Saiyan God Goku and Super Saiyan God Vegeta. These are the 7-year EZA. Coming in at number 3, we are assuming they are on lead with the AGL Gogeta, since that is their 220% lead, and they are linked next to the AGL Blue Boys. So this is another one of those where the partner isn't exactly the best, but it does give them everything they need. 95% attack on links, very, very impressive, plus an additional 5% crits. Now, he does have, we are assuming, of course, 24 key, which means they have their effective against all types. At turn 7, slot 2, active skill has been activated. They have obtained 10 key spheres. Remember, the greater the amount of key spheres they get, the stronger they are. They are facing one enemy whose enemy is below 50%, because, of course, you would have to do, you would need that in order to activate the active skill, and your own HP is 50% or higher. All of those conditions are met. You're looking at 641,205,801. So very, very impressive on our number 3 pick. No surprises there. Honestly, I knew these guys hit hard. It sometimes feels like they hit even harder than our number 2 pick, and I think you guys all know who it is. We have the LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Number 2, this guy is assumed to be on his own Giant 8 Power team. Well, not his own team, but the Giant 8 Power team of the LR Super Saiyan 3 and Super Saiyan 4 Goku. We are assumed he is linked next to the Goku, right? And the reason you want this team is over, say, like a Gogeta team, is because this would essentially give us 2 supporting Super Saiyan 4 Gokus, which actually would end up being a greater buff than the Gogeta buff. And this, of course, gives him 65% attack from links. That's the one we're concerned about. We are assuming 24 key, turn 7, slot 2. The active skill has been activated, 10 key spheres, just like the gods, versus one enemy. HP is 50% or less, and has received a super attack that has been countered after attacking. If all those conditions are met on turn 7, you are looking at a 674,871,331 APT. That is pretty impressive. Think, right, that this guy is probably one of the most necessary units for some of the hardest fights in the game due to that counter and the level of HP that they are dealing, right? This turn, if this is what he's doing at turn 7, dial that up to, times 10, and that's what you're looking at for turn 70, right? Like that, he's just that crazy. That counter with that counter 300% multiplier is doing big numbers for this guy, ever increasing that APT. And of course, it's only going to get higher the more turns go on. So that leaves no further questions as to who the number 1. I think everybody knows who it's going to be. I put out on Discord a little challenge to see if anybody could guess who the highest rated units are for APT for the post 10th anniversary, and I got a lot of interesting guesses, but all pretty much came back to the same answer. I think we all know who it is. That's right, it is the LR Tech Super Deleto. That should have been no surprise to anyone watching this video. He is the most powerful unit in the game by a wide margin, coming in with a whopping 1.4 million, or 1.4 billion. You heard me correctly, 1.4 billion APT. We are assuming he is on his own 220% lead linked with the Gogeta, meaning Gogeta's active skill has been activated. He is getting 60% attack from his links, as well as being supported from both Vegito and Gogeta. We are assuming 24 key. It is turn 5, or this is turn 5 to 6, mind you. Turn 5 to 6, mind you. His active skill has been activated. He is slot 1, meaning he gets his super attacks as early as possible. He is doing 3 counters before attack, minimum 3 counters before attacking, and 9 counters after attacking. Of course, depending on the fight, right, you're probably going to be seeing a lot more than that in any given turn. But that's the bare minimum, and assuming that is the case, he's hitting 1.4 billion attacks. That is crazy. I could not believe it when I heard it. He just gaps the game. Really, he does, right? We talk about it, right? We talk about how good he is, but I think actually seeing the numbers here really puts it in perspective, right? The number 2 unit is half of what he's dealing, less than half of what he's dealing, given the same condition. In fact, more conditions. He's given an extra turn to stack, and it's still half of what Vegito has to offer. This just really goes to show that this guy is the best unit in the game by a wide margin. Should come as no surprise to anybody who really has used him, though. So guys, that is it for the video. If you liked the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and in the comments down below, let us know, who do you think should be represented here? We know Vegito's number 1, but maybe there are some picks here outside of the top 15 that you think are worthy of mentioning. Let us know in the comments down below what other units you think have a really high attack power. Maybe there's someone we can test in a future video. But let us know what you think of the list, and let us know what you think of this little something different as well. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and aloha.